But yazi kune-choice esinayo uma ngabe sikhula siyakhetha ukuthi sikhonzaphi, siyakhetha ukuthi sivotela bani. Kodwa esingenako ukukhetha ukuthi-ke siyingxenye yamomphakathi, sikhethe lokho. And what's so beautiful about that is while we exist in community and are raised by communities, and I will give you an ambiguous statement. The statement is the fact that God exists in community. Uzinkunzintathu akekho uNkulunkulu oyedwa mningi ebiyendweni umphakathi ekhona. So in other words, there is no God without an understanding of community, because God himself is a community. Therefore, in him being a community, he is best experienced within community. Ingakho silana sizokwenza uNkulunkulu, because we cannot allow you to suffer alone. That's why the worst kind of suffering is the one that isolates you. Yes, in the abuse is that abusers, before they abuse you, they must isolate you first. Why? Because it is impossible to abuse someone in community. Deny them of community, then you will kill them. So, I showed them the song, but we feel this pain. And we are here because your suffering cannot be tolerated in the midst of community. So when you suffer in our midst, why? Because we are made in the image of God, and God exists in community. Nowhere are we more like God than when we are communal. You know what's worse about the pandemic is that it isolated us. That's strong. Ngalesifo esifikile ukuthi vele sasithatha nje sasisabalalisa sasala sodwa, and abaningi bethu suffered alone. Abanye abafile ababulawanga izinto ebezibadlile, babulawe ukuthi bezibadlabe bodwa. So standing as a community to be like God, but not only to be like God, to be representatives of God. Singeniso sami leso kulula ke umuntu kaNkulunkulu mhlawumbe akengidlulelana angikaze ngife angikaze ngife angazi lutho ngokufa ngiyangizwa abantu kaNkulunkulu angikaze. I'm not an expert yokufa, angikaze ngife ngiyangizwa. Engikwaziyo ngokufa is that awufi kaningi ufa kanye. So nakhona nakuba kuze kufake mhlawumbe ngaye ngafa, I don't think ukuthi ngabe ngi-expect yakho ukufa because ngabe kuyinto engayenza kanye. Kufanele ngingalisise kahle bese ngokuNkulunkulu. So I'm not an expert yokufa, so angizukukhuluma ngokufa ngoba ngikwazi. Engikwazi ukuphila. Yabona ukuphila ngiyakwazi ngoba ibona kufanele kwenze kaningi. You're to 40 manje. So for 40 years I've been living, but I've never died. So I can't stand here and talk about death and not talk about something I've been doing for almost 40 years. So what we're struggling with here is not Shona Mama. It's not death. That's not what we're struggling with here. What we have to struggle with is life in ourselves. Life. And I don't think if any one of us will get it wrong, but so what we struggle with is not death. What we struggle with is life. That's when the pilweni. So I'm not going to talk about death, I'm going to talk about life, because that's what we struggle with. So, siyakhuluma last week ngonkosikazi, befanele siphume, befanele sihambe, hey, imoto inopetrol. Ngiyambuza, inopetrol imoto? Hayi ngoba mhlawumbe ngithi akayothenga, vele begcina ukuyishayela. Ngaze ngithi hawu. Ndodo usikhathi nopetrol emotweni. So ngithi mina athi hayi awukho bese ngithi asiyothenga. Yabo. Hey, ngibheke egarage. Ngiyabhatanisa la ngiyahlanganisa. Uyabona? Ngithi besifike egarage ngithi awube kancane mfowethu ungene ngaphakathi. Ngiphethe amakhadi awu-3. Ngifake angazi lokugagela ngiyagagela le mali engiyikhipha ngifuna nokuyibona ukuthi ingakanani ephakathi. Ngoba ngiyaqala izongikhalisa ngifike lokuqala. Ngigagele imali engizoyikhipha. Hayi nale ngigagele iphume ngempela. Ngithi umkhulu wena. Ngiyibuyisele ngikhiphe lesibili, hayi ngiyikhiphe ebese ngiyofaka-ke upetrol wale mali. Yazi bese ngihleli phansi ngicabanga ukuthi hey. Oh, so on one of the cards, this is where I'm going with the story. On one of the cards, bekhona imali ebengiyazi ukuthi ikhona. So uma ngabe sengiyikhipha, kanti ngitshe ukuthi ikhona, ayigoloze leli lesithathu. Lithi ayikho la. Ngiphinde ngithi ikhona. Ayigoloze ikhadi lithi luthe. Ebese ngicela ukuthi awungibonise ukuthi yini le ekwenza ukuthi ayikho le mali. Hayi iphume-ke lento ebese iyashokela ukuthi oh hayi mali ithathwe abomshwalense wokufa. Right? So this book statement on life cover. Bathi life cover kodwa kahle iphuma ama-750 le mali. Bathi life cover. So here I am in life struggling for petrol money because imali yami is insuring my death. We've glorified death to the point where even our lives are regulated by death. Umuntu uzokusuka namhlanje ayokwenza izinto ezinkulu ngoba besengcwabeni. Ngifuna ukuthi nami ngifa bakhulume kanje ka. Why must death regulate how you live? Is life not motivation enough for you to get your house in order just so that you can live? Okay, it's very easy to trust God when everything is going well. It's very easy to trust God. You don't need faith for that. I don't think we'll call for that. So this is now. I'm now. This is how you live, right? This is how you live. It's very easy to trust God when everything is going well. It's very easy to trust God when He has these grand displays of interventions and providence. It's easy. The most difficult thing to do is to trust God in His silence. When ufiwa left, right, and center, you see, you don't need faith when God intervenes. You need faith when God is silent. You see, when God delivers you, you don't need faith, you need the deliverance. Ngesikhathi ugwiliza ila uNkulunkulu bengazathi uthuli khona into egcinayo ekuthuleni kaNkulunkulu ukholo alumenza uNkulunkulu akusise ukholo liyagcina engakakusisi. That is why wabakho Micah azobaphinda uJesu azomquota encwadini kaMateyu athi for the just shall live by faith. Brother Paul umquotayo athi the just shall live by faith. Amanye amazwi ukholo alulona ikhadi lokhipha imali ezophilisa. Ukholo luba yile mali le ingekho imali. So ukholo lwenza lento ezokwenziwa yilento oyithandazelayo ingekho. Lalela, uma ngabe ngisebenza ngidinga ukholo, nginomsebenzi. Ukholo olabanga to be our mother. Now we are going to be mothered by faith. For the just shall live by faith. When you accept a life of faith, you also accept a life of loss. We are returned to 70. The parent is alive. Who called? Doesn't retrench you. Hey, I'm going to take you for it. Say, you can't as a lady, you can't follow the regular. I can't as a little focus themselves. I'm going to be later. There's like one of us around. Running forward. This is so sad. You might be squared. So, I tell you what, I feel you want. This is so sad. Just as a kid, it's never excited. It's like a little excited. Little young, a palace answer. Excited. When I was a gun, I have your school. Ukule isihlanu sokusabe isabatha ngizoyinkonzo yemodisi sisizwe. Nje ukuthi uzofika ngesikhathi. Nenqola yakho. Sekusizo sakho. Senzoba ne-transport. Ungangibuzi ngihamba ngani singakafiki, but ngangifika la ngifane ngiye khona. Nkosi yakho namandla futhi. Right? Safika. Ngakhohlwa ukuthi kuyahambeka singekho. Yafika imoto. Ngezwa abantu ngabo-12 ebusuku bekhuluma ezathi, ngavuka. Ngikwi-13th floor. Imoto ngifanele ukuwela umgwaqo uyipaka ngale ngaphesheya. 13th floor ngabezwa. Angilele ngikade sikusile. Ngabezwa bekhuluma. Angabe ngivuka ngiyobheka ewindini ngababona abakude nemoto yami ngathi uyibuka. Ngayolala. Ngavuka ngabo-2. Ngivuswa ngizwe i-alarm. Ijaceke akakayizwi i-alarm yakho ikhala kanjani. Sithi angiyo-check. Just in case yona le. Mengabe ngifika ayi-2 le enye ekhalayo laphana. Angilanga ngivuswa isibusiso. Ngabo-4 ngaphinde ngavuka sengizwa abafana bayakhuluma lapha kodwa ngicela namabhodlela 4 AM ngesabatha ekuseni fanele ngabe ngiphumile ngoba ngenkonzo later on yesini angilele ngiqwashile ngikade isibusiso. My life was peaceful without this blessing, but when the blessing arrived, because faith had departed, I now had to protect this blessing. Ingakafika imoto ngagcina ukhono, yafika imoto badinga ukuthi igcinwe mina. The just shall live by faith. Why? Because faith doesn't demand that we keep it. Faith keeps us. Aluskwashisu khona. Mawa amashona ngo-2001 sini. So njengoba kufika i-corona nje ngiyababona abanye bakhathazekile ngezalukwazi zabo. Angikhathazekile. Yeah. Angizwa. Yeah. It was lost. When she, it was painful when she died. Oh, but it was peaceful during a pandemic. You don't have to worry about what you don't have. So trust the times of loss. We complain about what we have lost, not realizing the curses that lie behind possessing what we lost. Let me close off with this thought. John chapter 5. John chapter 5. Kunendoda elele ekhibini. Ngizobe ngishumayela sasa TV leya. Ngibona umfundisi we-TV la. Ngithatha kancane. Don't take me young. Don't take me little yet. Don't take me little. So, yimina kusasa. How TV?
All right.
12 o'clock. Ngixolele bazalwane kudlala lokho kuye besibambe. Esikhathi singafanele. So this is the verse sasa sizokhuluma, but this is the part engekho kusasa. Eyinto le ngiyezwa. Ayikho kusasa. Eyinto le. Because you need it. Ithi iBhayibheli kunendoda esigule 38 years. 38 years, right? This man was sick for 38 years. Sick for 38 years. Ukubona nabe ngeminyaka ngiyembona lo uza kwethu lo bese sibiza ngoza kwethu noma phela ke sibesingavumelana ukushiya.
Yeah.
Eshumayela athi I've been to 2020.
Ah, good.
I have been to 2020. 2020 is a blessing for you.
Yeah.
Yafika ipandemic. Wathi icwaka ukushiya. Awucabange doing that 38 times. At the beginning of every year, saying, this is my year. This is 20 prosperity. This is the year of breakthroughs. For 38 years, facing the same disappointment over and over again. This man was not 38 years old. He was sick for 38 years. That means this man experienced God's silence for 38 years.
Go, what is it?
Muntu waNkulunkulu nayinto west lithi iBhayibheli wayehlele echibini eliseduze nethempeli. Nayi kaNkulunkulu la. Ugulela la. Into emgulisayo iyamvimba ukuthi akwazi ukuyongena lapha. So close to God yet so far. Unable to get to where God is until on the 38th year God moved from the temple to where he was. When he could not get to God, God came to where he was. When you are isolated, when God emptied the churches and he demanded of us to stay at home, God left the church. So we were alone outside of community, but in fellowship with God. That's why we are here. God is 4 years, 16 years of the pandemic. We call up uNkulunkulu ekhaya. Ithi uNkulunkulu senamenza idlozi ehlale endlini. Ungathuki senkonzweni kodwa le thuka ngazathi awukhona. God was resident in your home during the whole pandemic. When we couldn't get to him, he came to us. That is why Paul would write, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Singakazi nalokuthi siyamgiga weza. Mase dodwa ngamabhanje twaqata manje. 38 years. God came. Then God came. Jesus uza echibini, right? 38 years. After 38 years uza echibini. Lithi iBhayibheli umembona uJesu when he saw the man and he knew. Jesus saw him and he knew. Wambona was. Umuntu kaNkulunkulu sesicabanga ukuthi uNkulunkulu usizwa ngoba simemeza ngo-12 ebusuku. uNkulunkulu usizwa ngoba lapho sibikwa abefundisi bethu. My Bible tells me that God knows even before you ask him. Bengadlali ukhuluma ukuthi ngiyangenisa ngiyayibona sayidinga lento manje. awudingi ukuxhumanisa noNkulunkulu. He knows. And I like this term that uJohane alisebenzisa la. uJohane akasho ukuthi uNkulunkulu waye-understanda. Yabona lokwazi ukuthi 1 plus 1 is 2, with 3 plus 3 is 6. Ulwazi lolo. uJohane, when Jesus saw this man, he was intimately acquainted with his condition. Ngesikhathi uJesu embona, uJesu waba ne-experience. I-experience yakhe. So uma embona uJesu, uyayazi into adlule kuyona ngoba sengazathi lo Jesu udlule kuyona lento. But that's not what surprises me. That's not what amazes me. What amazes me is that when Jesus asked this man, do you want to be made well? After 38 years, listen to this guy's answer. 38 years of silence. 38 years of no answer from God. After 38 years of constant and consistent disappointment, this man has not lost faith that today is my day. Defying. Ukholo luthi uyabona isimo la sithi and sekukube kanje isikhathi esithi, you know, faith does not respect the length of suffering. Alutho ukholo ngoba sekwenzeka isikhathi eside kangaka should sekuzoba nje. Lutho ukholo noma kungenzeka isikhathi esingakanani, it only takes a moment to transform it. Angizwa. Sick for 38 years. Get up and walk. 38 years of disappointment solved in a matter of seconds. Get up and walk. Ukuthi usuyenza isikhathi eside akusho ukuthi kufanele kwenzeke kanjani. So Jesus says, do you want to be made well? This man says, say, I have no one. Oh, isikhathi amanzi enyakaziswa. You understand what he's complaining about? Say, I do suffering alone. Say, I have no community. Into engibuyela kakhulu akusibona ukuthi usindisa lokho. But there's no community. That's what's been killing me. But in the absence of community, faith has been present. That's why I still believe that all I need is someone.
A member of the community.
So then he says, so it's Bible. This man believed which I nyakazi samanzi. Ingelosi yenyakazi samanzi, but ongeneqala wayesitha, right? So iBhayibheli lapho lithi kwakune-inkolelo leyo. Akulona iqiniso, inkolelo ababenayo. Sinazi inkolelo-ke nathi. Noma uphuma la ufisa ixhawule uthatha ibusiso inkolelo leyo. Akulona iqiniso. Manje sandla sami sishaya ngoba isibusiso mase kufanele ngishaye ingane futhi usiseke akho sibusiso la ngiyangizwa ukuthi bayabona isibusiso sibani sikuthini umsebenzi wami ke ukukhombisa indawo yesibusiso akusona isibusiso ungazuletha imali yakho kodwa mangiyikhaya neyikona unganika kodwa ke akukho ozokuthola ngoba unginika yona. Yes, isibusiso sinkulunkulu. So zikhona iy'nkolelo esiba nazo. Oh, wait. So, my landing point, right? So this man had faith, right? But his faith was in a superstition. So he believed that his healing would come from the stirring of the waters. Sinazo inkolelo njengoba na ucabanga ukuthi impilo yakhe izoba ngcono boke wathola umsebenzi. That's not necessarily true. It's a belief. Bakhona abasebenzayo. Abafisa ukuresign. So that's a belief khona ongalali uthandazela umshado ngiqhubeka khona ongalali uthandazela umshado ngoba efuna ukujabula bakhona abashadile abathandazela ukuthi Nkosi angeze ubuhlungu avela aqhubeke nje kuphela right so just make sure they don't let them suffer just get athule into yakho Nkosi but khona othandazayo othi Nkosi if you can just give me someone my life would be complete every day ask God, it is because of this person that my life is going backwards. So there's a difference between having faith in God and having faith in things. And sometimes, let me pass here, and sometimes God denies us things so that we realize how much we don't need them. When do you know that you are ready for something? When you wake up to realize that you don't need it. And why? Because when you are still desperate for it, you are vulnerable to it. And it's wrong. Uma ngabe usayidinga ungalaleki ngaphandle kwayo angeke ulale seyifikile. Uma kuhlukumeza ungabi khona kwayo kuyokuhlukumeza uba khona kwayo ngoba usabe ukuthi izokulahlekela. Don't despise the 38 years of silence. It is to teach you that you can do without it so that when it arrives you don't lose your mind. Kama usanganiswa ile nto ngingaphila ngaphandle kwayo. Yakwazi ungabi namoto, yini mzongalani manje ngenxa yokuthi sikhona. Some of us are restless in blessings because we never enjoyed the 38 years of silence. We never allowed it to teach us that life is possible without it. Let me close with this. Faith in the pool, even though the source of healing is right before you. Do you want to remain well? You are full of pain. Oh, you said to me, if I ask you, I'm taking responsibility for your answer. Do you want it? Maybe let me pass it. You also don't post my phone. Why come back? My phone and my bed later as Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure from time? Are you sure you're full of 70? Are you positive you're full of 70? We are full of our colleagues. We are full of Are you sure you're full of 70? Are you sure we are full of responsibility? Are you sure we are full of stress? Are you sure? Do you want it? So this question is a question of reflection, not a question looking to locate desire. Reflect on this. Are you sure this is what you want? Are you ready to divorce yourself from your circumstance? Are you sure you are ready for life apart from being identified with your suffering? Are you sure? Yes. It's a vision. Okay. Gig. Food is called Helterback. Nganginakekelo ibandla lasembali. Ibandla lasembali nginakekelo. Ngisho njalo ke imali yekho. Izalukwazi zasembali. Angicacisi. Bakhono baba. Izalukwazi zasembali. Izalukwazi nomama basembali. Nomama basembali. Ngisho uma bephethe esikoleni ngifona ukuthi hey ma Sekushoda lokhu nalokhu. Uyazi omama ngendlela abathembeke ngayo. Hayi, ngina nje mama, zokwenzela ntambama. Ayifaki imali mama. Ingenamzange by the way. Nakeke lo mama wasemali. Hayi mama sekushoda lokhu hayi. Ngaqeda esikoleni, ngasebenza. Nawahola amasenta aphele. Ngiyithatha ifoni ngicabanga ukufona bese ngithi ngifonela la. Ngizothini? You see, when I was still married to being a student, it was justifiable to ask for help.
Yeah.
But now that I'm working, I can't ask people for help. Are you sure you want to work? Is this what you want? Are you sure that's what you want? Anyways, then Jesus says, right, so this man gives him the wrong answer again. So look at this. This is prayer. This is prayer. This man says, I have no one. Gives him the answer. Jesus says, okay, get up and walk. Why is Jesus saying to this man, get up and walk, when this man didn't ask him to make him get up and walk? Look who called on the Jesus, I'm lying. Look who called on So let me allow me to say to you, we are not saved because of our faith. We are saved in spite of our faith. Asisindiswa ngenxa yokholo lwethu. Sisindiswa noma ukholo lwethu lukhona. Angazwela kanjani leso? In spite of. Ngamanye amazwi, ukholo lwethu more times than not, or what we have faith in more times than not, is exactly what disqualifies us from being saved.
Oh, this.
Let me give you this illustration. So, I thought so you know, when I 18 months at the time, I'm saying so you need brush and pink, but now you need brush and pink. So brush and I I'll kind of brush. I didn't think as I asked that is that I take a mod. You know what we usually do to our kids? We become the parents we wish we had. To our children, we become the parents we wish we had. So the important is that I brush it. That's what it is. But now I'm telling you more. Yes. Is that a brush? Me. Ngicabanga ngemoto. Ayicela mina ngoba ngiyayithanda. Yena ufuna ibrush. Ujabulile ngebrush. Uthando lwami lumphuphela ongaphezulu kwalokho acabanga ukuthi kuyiko. Bese ngidonsa ifoni. Ngibheke la. Khiphela amakhadi futhi awasebenzi wemali. Khiphela amakhadi futhi ifoni ngibheke imoto. Ngise ngiyithole. Ngimthengele. Akazange angicele imoto. Wangicela ibrush. Uyithola kanjani imoto na? Ngoba unobaba. Obona isidingo sakhe engakasisho. Ilashwa kanjani le ndoda na? Ngoba inobaba. Who when he walked into the temple, he knew. Ezinye izinto sisindiswa kuzona ngoba sithandaze kahle. Sisindiswa kuzona ngoba uNkulunkulu uzithandazile yena on our behalf. Singakasho lutho uNkulunkulu athandaza abantu Paul encwadini yabaseRoma chapter 8 athi for the Spirit himself umoya uNkulunkulu pleads on our behalf to God. In other words, umuntu ekuthandaza uNkulunkulu aqale phansi athandazele.
What is?
Kunobuhlungu esingakwazi ukusho uNkulunkulu esingakwazi ukuphilisela. Kodwa silapheke kubona silashwa yini? Asilashwa ithandazo yethu. Silashwa ithandazo uNkulunkulu asithandazela yona singaku ngoba sikwazi ukuyithandazela. Nasafuna amabrush. Already planned a car for us. Don't despise the 38 years of silence. Wayibukele. Ayitatazele impilo ayiqhamaze. For you have a Father who knows what you need, even before you ask Him. Don't even stress about yourself with the need. Mesidlala naye kodwa bekhuluma noNkulunkulu ngishiye khuluma nini yazi ngiyibuke ngithi yazi uNkulunkulu uyakubona loku-actor lokho lokuzenzisa lokho. And here's the funny thing, God responds in spite of his acting. Not in honor, not because of the acting, but in spite of. Aphendula uNkulunkulu kokathandaza ebusuku ndaba uNkulunkulu mehlekwa wena uzofayela akamele lapho kohlekwa nje sifayela akangene lapho but sesiyedla kube agenda yakho mana but God responds nonsense ithandaza sithandaza but God responds. Isuke indodana engulubeni ibuyele kubaba ekhaya before isuke yenze sikwenzayo rehearse umthandazo uzofika kubaba ngithi ushaya ngalo fanele ufake uNkulunkulu ukuze singonile ngeze ukuyisola angisafanelekile ngeze ukuyithoba. So a genuine prayer, a rehearsed prayer to try and impress the Father. But look at this, the boy gets home, he says his prayer. The Father doesn't respond to the prayer. He responds with more than what was asked in the prayer. Sometimes God doesn't ignore your prayer because you don't have faith. He ignores it precisely because of your faith. He doesn't ignore your prayer because of your faith. He ignores it precisely because of your faith. Your faith is a hindrance to what He has planned for you. You don't have to be a slave in my house. It's all we ever ask God for. I'm a brush. Let's do the lead more. By His servants, He has a sport that you have to Bring out the jacket. Bring out the. Don't despise God's silence. He's preparing much more than what you can ever think or imagine. Don't despise this moment. I can tell you now. I'm not sure 2001, I'm not sure 2009. You mentioned that this is a big guy. I'm not going to go for this one here. But you move for there's a life to be lived. It's possible to live even in the presence of death. My favorite song, in terms of when you guys are young, it's God who commands. Psalm 91. The angel Hannes has formed a camp around you, so that you may not fear the arrows that fly by day, or the terrors by night. The 38 years of silence are not in isolation. They're in community with God. He knows. Amen.